going back to some Warlock discussions. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you have seen our demo video, or maybe you have seen other Warlock content creators, specifically Kalamazi as well, making the points about the Demonology proposed changes for 10.1.5, because I do want to call it proposed, since all of these changes so far seem to be very, very flexible in the way that they're going to be implemented. We now have updates on the Warlock changes, and we're going to go through all of them, all of the Warlock specs, obviously a little bit heavier onto Demonology. First of all, Blue Post. Greetings, Warlocks. We've been reading through the feedback provided over the past week and want to provide an update with a look at the changes you'll see in the next PTR build. I will be reading this again once we get to Demonology because it's just hilarious. First of all, Affliction is getting an unstable Affliction damage increased by 10%, which is very good for single target. Affliction is also very close to Demonology Industrious performance in single target, so this might just be the thing that makes it exactly competitive. Seed of Corruption. Oh my god, I'm gonna play so much Affliction in 10.1.5. Seed of Corruption cast time has been reduced to 2 seconds, down from 2.5 seconds. I cannot tell you how many times every time I want to play Affliction in dungeons, I have to stop my Seed of Corruption just because it's a little bit too long, then a little bit really weird in getting it out there and making sure that it does the damage, because I have to dodge the swirlies, I have to kick the casts, I have to move with the tank because the tank decided to pull the pack across the corner and now it's out of my line of sight. So that change is amazing. On top of, by the way, all of the other proposed Affliction changes with, what was it, Death Blossom and the Xavius's Gambit, which I guess Xavius's Gambit doesn't affect that much AoE to my knowledge. But we're gonna go into Demonology. Now, if you haven't seen the Demonology video that we posted out, you could watch it for the giggle so you can have a laugh now. But once again, we've been reading through the feedback provided over the past week and want to provide an update with a look at the changes you'll see in the next PTR build. The talent that they added that we didn't like has been removed. The other talent that we didn't like that they've remade to be more accessible was removed, because god damn it. I didn't go super into detail at the time, but specifically because I usually watch a lot of Kalamazi's videos in the meantime, and you should also as well for more Warlock content that we provide usually on our channel. He made some of the best points out there regarding Shadowflame Acolytes, because this pushed Demo Warlocks into hard casting more Shadow Bolts and Demon Bolts, which is a boring playstyle. First of all, it just makes you sit still for a lot longer, and we know from Destro's world that that wouldn't be ideal, not to mention that Fel Covenant is what Destro's suffering through by being forced to hardcast, or you lose damage, hardcast continuously. These have been removed, which is great because I don't know if anybody likes Fel Covenant. Demonic Knowledge has been re-added and is now located where Shadowflame Acolyte. Demonic Knowledge has been removed in the initial proposed changes and replaced by Shadowflame Acolyte. Now it is back. Demonic Knowledge was the chance to generate, what was it? Chance to generate Soul Shard when you Hand of Gul'dan, I believe. Hand of Gul'dan has 50% chance to generate a charge of Demonic Core. There you go. Not a shard, but a charge of Demonic Core, which is pretty good because that's, you know, that's 2 shards actually. Shadow's Bite has been re-added and is now located where Fel Covenant was. So basically this changes nothing. The position of the towns is still going to be the same. And this is good because, you know, nobody liked Fel Covenant. Shadow's Bite was fine. I personally liked it. Apparently it's not that amazing for some people. I honestly don't care. When some Dirt Suckers fade away, they increase the damage of your Demon Bolt by 10%. This is essentially, you know, the Demon Bolt buffs that they might have wanted. Maybe they can change this, but they're probably not going to change this because of the actual buffs that Demo's also getting. On top of all of this, Hand of Gul'dan damage increased by 25%. All of the changes to the Hand of Gul'dan talents were insignificant because baseline, the ability just doesn't do damage. I mentioned it in the previous demo video. It does no damage. Why do you make me have a dot that's left behind after my Hand of Gul'dan? Why do you increase the crit chance of Hand of Gul'dan when the damage is just poop? So this was supposed to happen before any of the Hand of Gul'dan changes, Hand of Gul'dan talent changes. So first of all, yes, thank you. Implosion damage increased by 15%. This is particularly good because, I mean, obviously I can be biased, but I'm speaking from my personal experience playing both Demo and Destro. With Demo, I'm starting to see everybody else scale in AoE higher and higher and higher than me. So Implosion is definitely an issue considering that my AoE hits a cap. Not to mention that my tier set is so strong, but still my AoE is kind of poop. I'm glad that they're doing this. Dreadstalker damage increased by 15%. Very good. Dreadstalkers weren't super high on the damage profile. They were good, but this would obviously work better, especially in AoE, because, you know, the Dread Bites cleaves. Demon Ball damage increased flat by 20% instead of giving us as a talent. Yes, Demo has such interesting talents and interesting interactions between the talents themselves. Putting flat, the way Kalamazi put it was probably better. Putting flat damage increases is boring, and I've made this point months ago with Survival Hunter. Flat damage increase, whether it's just flat damage, whether it's crit, it's just boring design when you can make talents so much more interesting. And super props for them to put this in and give demos I guess the single target that they want through the hard casted bolts. Well, you know, you're not gonna hard cast demon bolt, but you're gonna cast demon bolts either way. Another thing that has been finally addressed, Bile Scourge Bombers. Soul Shard cost has been reduced to 0. Now it doesn't cost any soul shards. Now, Bile Scourge Bomber is a choice node with demonic strength, and you're never picking Bile Scourge Bombers now, although it's arguably a cooler ability, because demonic strength is just another Felguard, Fellstorm, whatever. Bile Scourge Bomber is just really cool. Now, I know for a fact that this just doesn't do enough damage. Obviously, the damage overall performance of it is calculated into the fact that it's also consuming two shards. Now it's no longer doing that. The damage hasn't been changed. Now, is this enough to put it on the map? I'm not sure. It's definitely a step in the right direction. I just wanted to deal damage, but in a world where in AoE all of your shards you want them to be spent on Hands of Gul'dan, this being free is probably better. Now, whether or not it also needs a damage buff, I guess we'll have to see. For the sims, I'm pretty sure that the Council of the Black Harvest community is gonna come up with some sims for the 10.1.5 changes to Demo. Umbral Blaze, also a talent that you haven't actually used at all. Hand of Gul'dan has an 8% chance to burn a target. This is the dot that I mentioned. 8% has an 8% chance to burn the target for additional Shadow Flame damage over 2 seconds. I mean, sure, but it's just very poop damage, and this had to be changed. And now it's getting buffed to almost double. No, it is actually double. It's from 8 to 15 to 15 to 30% spell power damage in AoE. I would like to live in a world where a lot of our AoE damage comes from actual Hands of Gul'dan cast, not just Implosion. Implosion is cool, but hey, shooting down a meteor of demons into the target should do some relevant. I kind of want to feel it, right, on my overall performance. And I am all for having Hands of Gul'dan be more impactful in terms of damage, not just summoning imps. Umbral Blaze now retains remaining damage when reapplied. Ooh, wait a minute. The dot can stack. Wait, somehow I skipped this one. Interesting, because Umbral Blaze lasts for 6 seconds, and in a high octane situation, you will likely cast Hand of Gul'dan more than once every 6 seconds. So having the dot stack is pretty cool. We're getting a redesign on the 2-piece tier sub bonus. Demon Ball damage increased by 20%, up from 15%, so we're gonna have a lot more Demon Ball damage. Consuming a demonic core, this is the cooldown of Grimoire Felguard by 1 second. I think it's 2 seconds on live, if I'm not mistaken. Demon Bolt. Oh no, it's still 1 second. Oh, I don't know why I thought it was 2 seconds. So basically, the sync between Grimoire Felguard and your turn is gonna remain the same, but Demon Bolt is just gonna do 5% more damage from the tier set, plus 20% more baseline, which is also really good. And Dirty Hands has been renamed to Malefic Impact, which I guess it's the same. Increase the Hand of Gul'dan damage by 8% and a critical strike chance by 8%, and this is a 2-pointer. They didn't mention that they changed the 2-pointer, meaning that is gonna be 15 and 15. I don't think it's 16 and 16. This will actually replace Ripped from the Portal. So although all the talents came back, Ripped from the Portal did not come back. Ripped from the Portal was when you get 3 dogs, which I get because that actually might solve the issue that they did want to address, which I definitely noticed it. The more I played Demonologies, that I had a huge influx of demonic cores, and I was most of the time just wasting them. Sure, I mean, I don't particularly care either way. Obviously, having 3 Dreadstalkers is cool, but they instantly give you 3 demonic cores, meaning that if you do want to optimize your demonic cores, you have to track when your dogs expire, and just before they expire you want to spend your demonic cores, but most of the time you're gonna overcap on shards. It was probably just gonna be very annoying to optimize, which is why probably nobody optimized it, which is why probably a lot of people just overcapped on demonic cores. So if that makes it easier for them to balance the talents, that's good, and if they can change that to more Hand of Gul'dan damage, then I guess that's fine. Overall, these changes for Demonology are super cool. I am actually really excited to see Hands of Gul'dan slapping more, and if I even get to play with Dirty Hands, if it becomes like relevant, I would be super stoked. Now for Destruction, there's fewer changes, but I am also very stoked, mostly because I want to play other talent builds for Destruction. Destruction is one of the worst specs out there in terms of talent consistency. So what we're just seeing a change to Crashing Chaos, right? So Crashing Chaos on live, I don't know if the tooltips have been changed. You summon an Infernal, reduce the soul shard cost of your next 3 casts of Chaos Bolts, Shadowborn, or Rain of Fire by 1. That's what Crashing Chaos does. Obviously, it's a 2-pointer. Now, Crashing Chaos is going to be redesigned. Summon an Infernal, increase the damage of your next 8 casts of Chaos Bolts. Now, I don't know if this is a 2-pointer or 1-pointer. It's 6 casts. Okay, so it's going to be 8 casts up from 6. Increases the damage of your next 8 casts by 50%, but it doesn't reduce the soul shard costs. And I think we've had something like this. I think it might have been a BFA Azurite, where casting Infernal would give you extra damage on your next X amount of Chaos Bolts. Obviously, it was just with Chaos Bolts, but with this, it will have AoE implications as well. And Dimensional Rift has had its damage increased by 15%, which is amazing because nobody plays Dimensional Rift. Wait, it's not here, it's here. Dimensional Rift is basically the middle capstone, which nobody plays, rips a hole into the space, opening a random portal. We did test this on the beta and it was really cool, but the damage is not there. Now, I don't know if 50% is enough. It's a capstone, so we'll see. And we have some thoughts on the changes. Rip through the portal. I think it was just what I mentioned. Regarding Demonology, these adjustments are being made to compensate for Rip through the portal not returning to the Demonology tree. We want talents to be competitive options against one another, and given the synergistic value of Rip through the portal, it's very difficult for us to adjust it in a way that it becomes an option rather than the right choice. And Demonic Cores. The removal of Demonic Knowledge, Demonic Meter, and Rip through the portal initially was too much of a push in the direction of reining in Demonology's mobility. And even with those, I think Demonology mobility was fine. It was not particularly amazing. It was definitely higher than the other 2 Warlock specs, I think. Demon Bolt is a cool spell that enables Demonology to be reactive. We don't want to create a drought of Demon Cores, but at the same time, we don't want it to be the only generator you cast. I can see that, that's fair. By re-adding Demonic Knowledge, the cadence of Demonic Cores should be in a healthier place, but still keeping Rip through the portal out. The feedback provided has been extremely helpful, and we appreciate the community's thoughts on the changes we're making in Fractures in Time. Thank you for the insights provided, and we'll continue to watch for further discussions. This is amazing. Devs, props up. Much respect for the fact that you did try to implement some changes that the community definitely did not like and not receive, and you went back on them in less than a week. I think this is amazing. This is yet one dude, like, we're not shields, man, okay? This is just another good example of why Dragonflight is such a good expansion, because of how the devs are reacting to community feedback. Pretty cool. Stoked to play Warlock, yes.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classic or retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.